Due to the surrender of Soviet Russia in the First World War on the 3rd of March 1918, the new Bolshevik government of Russia and the Central Powers, namely Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, where Russia recognized the independence of Ukraine. Welcome to Nomadpedia, and I'm your host, Collinx. A month before the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, on February 9, 1918, the Central Powers signed an exclusive protectorate treaty with the Ukrainian People's Republic, and this treaty was called Brotfrieden in German or Peace for Bread in English, recognizing the sovereignty of the Ukrainian People's Republic to get secured food supply support in return for providing military protection for a territory that was once the capital of the Russian Empire. The Central Powers recognized Ukraine as a neutral state. The Ukrainian state was born, although its independence will be short-lived. Following a series of events, Germany and Soviet Russia entered into the Treaty of Rapallo in 1922, cancelling all German commitments made at Brest-Litovsk. The disintegration of Austria-Hungary in the late 1918 automatically annulled its commitment, while Turkey renounced the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk by signing a treaty with the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, or SSR, in 1922. Russia and Ukraine has been reunited once again. Tavarish! Fast-tracked to the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine and 14 other Soviet republics gained independence. This included Russia, which also became an independent federation. In the early 90s, Ukraine's policy was dominated by aspiration to ensure its sovereignty and independence, followed by a foreign policy that balanced cooperation with EU and Russia. Remember, the 20th century's powers thought that it'd be best if Ukraine remains a non-allied country. The two countries have been hostile since what became known as the Revolution of Dignity in 2014, which toppled Ukraine's elected president Viktor Yanukovych and his supporters because he refused to sign a political association and free trade agreement with the European Union. Ukraine's post-revolutionary government wished to commit the country to a future within the EU and NATO, rather than continue to play the delicate diplomatic game balancing its own economic and security interests with those of Russia, the EU and NATO members. These policies are directly responsible for the now 8 years of a covert war between Russia and Ukraine. While the Crimean Peninsula was annexed by Russia following a referendum which the rest of Ukraine and most of the world has failed to recognize. But take away the politics, guys. Russians are by far the majority in the Crimean Peninsula. The easternmost part of Ukraine, whose inhabitants consider themselves as Russians, felt unrepresented in Ukraine. This led to the Donbas insurgents, and with a sympathetic Russian next door, they've gained the expected support, training and arming of militias, sending Russian volunteers and mercenaries to assist, issuing Russian passports to hundreds of thousands of residents, and putting political and diplomatic pressure on Ukraine not to attempt an all-out attack, as this would be considered an ethnic cleansing of Russian minorities, threatening to directly intervene. While this is one of several series I've made on this topic, in my opinion, creating a federal Ukrainian state, just like Russia, is the fastest way to end the 8-year-old war. Please leave a comment below. Tell us what you think about this topic and what part of this topic you would like to hear next. Thanks for watching.